Okay, once our transparency is square on our screen's set up, our screen's clamped down, we have ensured off contact by properly adjusting the press and putting an off contact tab and taping it down to the edge of the screen here. We're going to tape off the screen and get ready to start printing. We're going to use a brown solvent resist tape. Now you're not going to want to use like a packing tape or a masking tape or any type of duct tape, because that's going to leave a lot of tape adhesive residue on your screen, which is going to clog up your screen mesh. You're going to be using a solvent resist tape that resists the solvents and doesn't leave very much residue. Now to tape the screen, we're going to want to tape each edge of the screen. So we're just going to pull the tape off to pretty much the correct dimensions of the width of the screen, and then either cut the tape with the scissors. I'm just going to tear it with my mouth like this. And then come here, and you want to squarely put it in the edge here, so you don't have any rumples or anything like that, and it correctly tapes off the edge of the screen so no ink can get out the edge. You're going to want to do the same thing with the side of the screen. Come down here, set it in there like that. Come tape it off so it's nice and secure. This side of the screen. Like that. And then finally the back of the screen. Okay, once our screen's all taped off, we're going to apply some ink, take our transparency out, put a test square down, and do a test print. Take the transparency off. Put a test square down. I'm going to squirt some spray adhesive down onto the palette. This is CCI spray adhesive mist. Just going to want to spray a little bit onto the palette. And then once again, since we're using a white ink, we're going to want to put down a black test square, because if we used a white test square, we couldn't see what we're doing. Put down the test square and make sure it's nice and secure. Then we'll come down and lay down our screen into the printing position. Okay, we're just going to take our goop scoop here, once the ink's open, and apply a fairly good amount of ink below the image. About like that, so it covers from end to end. Clean up our ink a little bit, then set it off to the side. Now we're going to want to take our squeegee and do one test print. Now one thing I want to go over before we start the printing process is squeegee angle. This is very important to getting a good print on your screen. Now a lot of people, we found a lot of customers will put their squeegee angle like this, and they'll actually press down and pull the ink across the shirt like that. Now you don't want to do that. You want your squeegee angle to be up about an 80-degree angle. And instead of pulling, you don't want to pull, you want to push down. You want to put your weight down onto the squeegee, then you want to pull it across like that. If you see this now, there's no ink left behind there. All this ink is picked up by our squeegee because we have a very good squeegee angle on it. Once again, do a test print. Now we're doing a test print to see if we have any ink spots that need to be taken care of. Looking here, if we have any pinholes, we're going to see the pinholes come through on this black test square. I'm seeing a couple things right up there, so I'm going to come check on the bottom of my screen, look to see where that would be at. Doesn't look like that would be affecting anything, so we're good. However, if there were pinholes, we're going to either want to take some Scotch tape or we're going to want to take some block out, and we're going to want to tape those pinholes up. Let's say that was a pinhole there. We just take a little bit of Scotch tape or some block out, dab it on that pinhole. Scotch tape works well because you can do it right then. You don't have to wait for it to dry like block out, but block out is more permanent. Scotch tape sometimes will leave some adhesive onto the screen. Now, I'm going to go over that one more time with another test print. I'm going to take that off, set that aside, put one more test print down. We want to bring our ink back to the back of the screen like that by picking it up with our ink squeegee. Then we're going to want to, first you want to flood your screen like that. That way you have a nice good amount of ink on the screen. Then you want to put pressure down, once again with a squeegee angle that's about 80 degrees, and pull up. Once we have the print across, we let go, we release, we give it a little flick with our wrist. Using white ink especially, white ink is the thickest or one of the thickest inks because it has to be very super opaque to be able to show up on your print. Now if you look through the screen here, we don't see any ink left in our image. That means the screen has cleared. Now that's very good. We have a good off contact. If there was ink stuck in the screen, let's see here. If there was ink still stuck in the screen, we'd actually see it in the image here. We'd see it in our screen mesh. That means the screen's not cleared. That means you're going to want to put a little more pressure, maybe run a little bit faster across and do a little bit more pop. A pop would be like, you want to give it a little pop, that way your screen pops up and clears your image very, very good. What I'm doing here is called a back flood. That's taking the ink and moving it back over to the printing area. It's also flooding your screen. Now we see here that we have a very nice looking print. We have no pinholes. We have cleared our screen. We have ensured the proper off contact. So we're going to put a t-shirt here and show you how to print a t-shirt and how to cure it. Before we commence, we're going to want to make sure that our fingertips are clear from ink. We don't want to be starting to print our job and have ink marks all over our first part of shirts. One other thing you're going to want to make sure is that you have enough spray adhesive on the board. Spray a little bit of spray adhesive down so the shirt, basically the spray adhesive or the tack adhesive, ensures that the shirt lays flat and doesn't move around during the printing process. If you're heating the palette a lot, if you're flash curing a lot, if you're doing the final curing on the palette, you're going to have to use a little bit more spray adhesive. However, normally the spray adhesive lasts several prints. We're going to then take our first shirt, open it up correspondingly, and then place it onto the palette. Now, we're going to want to center it up, and then we're going to want to bring it to that center line that we had originally on the shirt. Right about there on the palette. Lay it flat so that we have no wrinkles in it, and then bring down the screen to make our first print. Now if you notice, our screen's already flooded because we did a back flood, which is taking the ink from the top after your first print, then pushing it down to the bottom of the screen, ready for your second print. So we don't have to flood the screen. We've already back flooded it. We bring the screen up. We have our right squeegee angle. We have a good pressure on the screen, and then we're bringing the print across. We see here that our image is fairly clear. So we're going to pull the screen up, back flood it, and then we have our first print down on the shirt. Now, if you notice here, we didn't probably put enough pressure over here in the corner. That happens sometimes, especially with a larger design. The ink pulled up a little bit right over there. Now, if you notice all the way across the shirt here, we have a nice solid flat image. The ink's not pulled up. If you're not clearing your screen, your whole shirt's going to look like that. You don't want that to happen. That's why you want to have a good squeegee angle and you want to have a good pressure, pressuring down, not pulling across with your squeegee. Now since we're using a white ink has to be more opaque than, let's say, we were printing a black ink on a white shirt. If we were printing a black ink on a white shirt, as we'll do later, it's going to only take one pass and then we're going to be done. However, since this is a white ink on a green shirt, we're going to want to do what's called a flash cure. Now a flash cure is not a final cure of the ink, it's only a temporary or a top cure of the ink, so we can put down another coat on top of that. Using the heat gun, we're going to fire the heat gun up, put it on high, and then just slowly go across the design. With a heat gun, it takes about, roughly, probably 30 seconds to do a flash cure. However, if you were using a flash dryer, it would probably only take 15 to 20 seconds. So we're going to go over the whole design with a heat gun. Using a heat gun, it takes a little bit longer than using a flash dryer. A flash dryer is going to be much easier to do your flash curing with. To test the ink to make sure it's dry, to put another color on top of it, we just simply test it with our finger. See, right there it's cured, right there it's not. We got some ink back. So we're going to cure that part a little bit longer.